Hello, everybody. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Bryan.
And this is Bryan versus Bryan, episode 127, The Pale Blue Eye by Edgar Allen Poe. No, it's not by him, but he's in it. So this is a, no, it's not. This just says 2002 American mystery thriller. Pretty sure this just came out.
I think the book came out in 2002.
No, 2022. This book came out.
I think the book came out in 2002, 2003. I think was when the book came out. So maybe they got wires crossed. Oh, 2003. Okay.
Adapted from the 2003 book of the same name by Louis Bayard. I don't know who that is. What has he done? Jackie and Me. Whatever that is. A fool. Strange. First two novels, Fool's Errand and Endangered Species, were romantic comedies with modern settings. A romantic comedy book. I don't know. It's like Matthew McConaughey's in the book. How is he in the book?
Yeah.
I wrote it as him. So, tells the story of veteran detective Augustus Landor, who in 1830, West Point, New York, investigates a series of murders at the United States Military Academy. With the aid of a young Edgar Allen Poe, a young military cadet. So we got Christian Bale, Harry Melling, who I'm not familiar with, really, but I thought it was great as Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good performance. Who else we got in there? We got Gillian Anderson. I didn't even know it was her. So I was looking up the cast.
Yeah. Is that fucking Scully? It was really hard to tell. Like some moments I'm like, oh, that's Scully, and some moments I'm like, oh wait, maybe it's not.
I did not know until I fucking just right now looked up their names.
I did the same thing after the movie. Apparently Robert Duvall's in this. And I don't even remember Robert Duvall at all. I'm like, I don't even know what character that was. But when I was looking at the cast, I think I
think Robert Duvall was the remember that guy he goes to and like 2 times in the movie.
And the exposition guy,
the old sage.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
But oh yeah, Toby Jones. I like Toby Jones in this. He's a good little creepy doctor character. Anyways, there was a how did it start? I remember it was a strange start. It was just what'd they show? They showed some water.
Yeah, I think boom, the opening shot is the hanging, like a silhouette of someone hanging from a tree, and then it kind of like dissolves into this river, and then like Christian Bale's kneeling over doing Christian Bale things.
Yeah. Talking to himself. Oh, acting gruntled. So, Cadet Leroy Fry was found hanged at West Point. And who are those guys? Captain Hitchcock and Superintendent Thayer. All right, these guys were strange characters. I liked them though. They're just so like Christian Bale's kind of normal. A lot of these characters are normal, other than like Edgar Allan Poe in their speech. But then you have the Hitchcock and Thayer were just like the big mutton chops and crazy hats.
Yeah.
Like, we must find the culprits of these heinous crimes. Or 'tis be a stain on the whole academy. What kind of a monster does this? Yeah. They were fun. So it's like it's the military, and you don't even really. At first, you're like, why the fuck are they asking Christian Bale to do this?
Yeah.
It's like they don't explain he's a detective or anything at all. It's just a guy. I don't even know how the Hitchcock and Thayer know him. It just kind of throws you right in. It's like all of a sudden, I have a job for you, Mr. Landor.
Yeah.
No drinking now. No. Your
Well, there's
reputation.
this funny moment. I couldn't help but laugh because he's at the river and he hears some horns, right? And so he goes back to his house and there's that main general guy's like, hey,
Yeah,
I want
that's
you to
right.
get in the carriage. You're being summoned to go. And he's like, what if I don't? Yeah. Anyways, he gets in the carriage and all of a sudden there's this voiceover. And it like goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes of everything that Christian Bale does. It's like this exposition dump of like, oh, you were the man who solved it, and you were the man who got this to happen, and you were the man, and then it like continues going on through the scene, and then he sits down, and it's just like, you got to show this stuff, not tell it, because not, I don't know, it just seems so on the nose, just like, here's all the thing. Oh, and your daughter is missing. It's just like, okay, thanks for all the character stuff, movie. Appreciate it.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it like went through his whole fucking catalog of successes as being a detective. They just like went through all of it.
Yeah. So that Fry was hung, and his heart was removed from his body as it lay in the morgue. So there's another crime. So they're trying to get him to help him with the murder, which is ridiculous. It's like the military can't do it. It's like, oh, we need an outside pair of eyes. How would we ever find the culprit? We're just the military here. and then he comes to him again. You won't believe what happened, Mr. Landor. The boy's body was desecrated in the most heinous fashion. What do you mean desecrated? I'm thinking, oh God, somebody fucked the body, or something fucked up's going on. Yeah. He's like, no, they took his heart. I was like, oh, it's not that heinous. He doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, he's already dead.
He's in the morgue. You sure he wasn't a donor or something? I don't know. So then he's worried about that. Oh, and then it's pretty cool. He did some Christian Bale type things when he's examining the body. He dips it in a bath. I don't know why. I think because it makes the bruises show up. I don't know if it's waterlogged. It's like, did you notice the bruising on his fingertips as if he struggled for his life? Mm-hmm. No, Toby Jones, no. Did you notice the large, or feel the back of his head? It's like, Iota examined him, and he's kind of pissed off, and oh my, quite a large contusion.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's strange how you had missed that. And you start to get an inkling of Toby Jones as the murderer, Mr. Dr. Marquise. Yeah. Marquise might not be quite what he seems, okay? And then his hand is clutched tight like the body, and he just starts breaking its fingers, the old rigor mortis one by one, and they're all, what are you doing? Sir! And then there's a note inside. How'd you know that was in there? Call it a hunch. And then you can tell Toby Jones is like, oh, well, I didn't think to open his hands. Well,
yeah.
Well, there's a fucking note in there, pal. Maybe you should have. So all these things suggest that he was murdered. Fighting, bruising on the hands, the rope ligature mark moving up and down as if he was pulling on it, contusions to the head, and note in hand. I think a murder we have. So we move forward with that premise. Landor then enlists the help of Edgar Allan Poe. God knows why. Yeah. I don't know. Why is he going there? He did go there to school. How would he know him or want his help? No fucking clue.
Yeah. I like their first meeting, though, because he's at the tree and he's kind of standing there, and all of a sudden there's just this random cadet behind him or whatever, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you. I got something you might want to know. And he's like, all right, spill it. He's like, you're looking for a poet. He's like, okay. And then he just like runs off. It's like, all right. And then he sees him again at the bar, and he's like, oh, that's the guy who told me about the poet thing. Yeah.
'Tis a poet you want, for only a poet would have the arduous task of needing someone's heart and bleeding from his own. And some crazy shit. Quoth the raven, and then he walks away backwards, scarily. So he gets Edgar Allan Poe. All right, and this guy playing Poe is extremely strange, and it's a fun performance. I almost wonder like what it would have been like if Bale played Poe. You know what I mean? Have somebody else play the detective and Bale is this eccentric poet. That would have been cool too. So, I think the first thing what does he have him do? Work on the note?
Yeah, I think the note was the first thing.
And then it's like a fucking tiny note with like 3 letters of like 3 words, like up and down. And it's like, figure this out. Oh shit!
The fuck?
And then he does, and he's making his whole presentation, and it's like, but you already knew this, didn't you? Like, yes, I figured out the note minutes ago. It's like, what the fuck is all
That's so ridiculous. I'm like, why did you do it then, you son of a bitch?
It was a test to see if you're worthy. You passed! Now, on to the real mysteries. It's pretty strange. It's fucking, it's fun, but a lot of it's like, what the fuck is going on?
I spent days on that, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I soaked it in piss to see if there was invisible ink. Put it up to multiple candles. So they figure out the note, and what happens? Oh, they figure out it was summoning that person to a secret meeting. They imagine it was written by a woman, and then they've already established that a woman couldn't have stolen the heart because it would take such brutal force to crack through the sternum of a man.
Yeah.
And no one talks like that in the movie, but it feels like they should. And so it's like, well, if a woman wrote the note, she must have wrote it under duress from the direction of a man to lure our subject to the fucking tree where his life would be taken. So we're coming up with all this from 3 letters of a note. Damn, this detective's fucking good. And I don't think he's getting paid or anything, right? They just go, would you do a favor for me? Yes. No, all I have is time to use my amazing, elaborate detective skills for no pay for weeks and months. Thank you. I would love to. You know, if you're good at something, never do it for free. And then a cow and a sheep were butchered, found with their hearts removed. It is deduced that the murder could be linked to black magic rituals. I didn't understand, like, okay, yeah. Just all of a sudden they just throw that in there as a red herring. I guess later on you figure someone's trying to leave more breadcrumbs, but I mean, they just do one sheep and one cow, and we move on, and nothing else really happens outside of the murder. So it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Oh, it has to be Satanist. There was a cow.
Who would do that?
I think the human was enough.
Yeah.
You know. Yes, but who would do it to a cow? A human is one thing, but so another cadet goes missing and is later found hanged. Oh yeah, this one stepped up, but his heart and his genitals were removed. He was castrated. What? Oh my, no. I like how the Hitchcock and Thayer guys, if wind of this gets out, this could bring down the whole West Point. If they know our cadets' genitals are being removed, we could lose all jobs.
Now that's desecration.
Yeah, and it's like what do you say? Something like we're pressing these cadets to their limits and finding their limits. And then if someone were to find out we are pushing them over their limits, why, we could be in big trouble, Hoss. It's like, okay. Military has always had a large suicide rate, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think it's uncommon. And I'm pretty sure these people were murdered, and that's what we're doing. We're investigating. I don't think you pushed them too hard.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I like that scene too because you finally get to see Christian Bale blow up. I mean, that's why we watch Christian Bale movies. You know, you want to see him fucking blow up in a Christian Bale fashion, and I think he has a pretty good little monologue about his feelings about the Academy. I thought that was kind of a fun Christian Bale Unleashed.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So, that one dies. Found, then the third one.
That's the one who attacks Poe, right? The one who's like jealous of Poe hanging out because he like gets attacked. And
yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
The second one was, I think, the fiance of Leah.
Yeah.
Who Poe starts to like, remember, because he takes her out on a date to the fucking cemetery.
Yeah.
Yes, and they speak in riddles and rhymes, and it's such a romantic time. And I love when Poe. We'll get back to that when Poe was like infiltrating the, like, I don't know, the like mean guys group, the underground group. And he's like, "Oh, you're a poet. You'll have to give us a show." And he's like, I can't remember the poem he had, but it was pretty funny. It's like, I found her, I bucked her, took her in the back and fucked her. He just comes up with some stupid shit that he knew they would like. Yeah! Thank you! I'm an artiste. But, oh yeah, she's like, "Oh, what, would you take me to the kissing grounds?" This is like basically the teen makeout spot is what she thinks. It's like, "No, the cemetery." "Oh, that's different." "Yes, I quite thought so." "I often go there to clear my mind." And they go there and they're sitting down and she's like
coughing or something.
Yeah, coughing. I'm like, you better back up, man. This is old school. I think this bitch has got tuberculosis. This is what I was thinking.
COVID-18,
It's like, yeah. I think I played Red Dead Revolver, man. This is how it all ends. Back at one cough is all it takes, baby. And I said, "Oh, are you cold?" "No, I'm coughing." "My temperature seems to be fine." He's like, "Please take my cloak." She's like, "I don't want your ugly ass cloak. Get that cloak off me." And then she falls to the ground in a seizure of some sorts. And he doesn't like. I thought he was gonna go for help or call for help. He just kind of stands there. "Leah, are you okay?" "Leah, Leah, is this normal for you?" And then she wakes up, and then they're walking back. A super awkward walk back again.
I thought that was an awkward cut. It's just like
it's like
nothing
the most
happened.
Awkward date scene I've ever seen. It's incredibly strange. And she's like, I wanted to thank you." "Oh, thank me for what, pray tell?" "For being there when I opened my eyes. For I knew I could trust you and you would be there." Some shit like that.
Yeah, look into your eyes and see your soul or whatever.
Yeah, no problem. I probably should have went for help. But yeah, I just stood there. So, you're welcome. And then the third one, Stoddard, who was a colleague of the two victims. So they all are connected. Oh, and then the first two were connected to Poe, and both evidently had a squabble. So the first one we find out had a squabble because I can't remember who, one of the Hitchcock or Thayer, tell Christian Bale about it. "Oh, he didn't tell you he had a squabble with him as well, did he? He has a connection to both men." And he's like, he just won't believe it. "Look, if you think Poe did this, go arrest him. You think his feeble ass could have done this?" So anyways, he confronts him, and we get a nice scene about that as well, too.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh,
tell me! Swear to me!" And then he finally explains that, yes, he did have a run-in with the first guy, but then he's like teary-eyed. If if I murdered everyone who had given me gruff at this school, there would be all but 12 cadets left.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's bullied. You wouldn't understand the pain and torment I've been through in my short time at this academy. All right. Okay, I believe you. You know what? Damn it, I think he's telling the truth. So, that one disappears, the third one.
Yeah, he gets the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, they all kind of think he believes he was next, being friends with the first two or something. And I think he was right. So that's good on him. Good on you. Yeah. So I don't remember why, but they begin to suspect the Marquise family. There's some strange dinner. Very strange dinner. It's like, this is like the most awkward scene. I was like, ooh. Where it's like the son. What was he?
He's like accusing him of going through his shit, but he's like not outright saying it. But he's
who was he accusing though? I couldn't tell if he was accusing his father or.
I think he was accusing Christian Bale. At first, it was unclear. I thought he was accusing Poe because they keep cutting back to Poe and his awkward. And it was. I think this comes like very closely after his whole thing about being bullied. So I thought he was going after Poe, but then as he went on and on and on, it was clear that he was going after Christian Bale because I think he even looks him at the eye at the end and then his mom fucking erupts.
Yeah, and this bastard just keeps going. And she just, stop! Oh, the noise! And then she does some crazy shit and smashes her plate. Oh, there! Look what you made me do! Our fine china. Please, excuse me. Walks away. Toby Jones just continue eating.
Don't mind my wife.
You must forgive my wife. She suffers from terrible migraines. How was your stew? It's fine stew.
Yeah.
I wonder if, Mr. Lando, you might join me in my study. Please. Please, take me away from this goddamn dinner. I found it strange that you would invite him to the study and not Poe. So now they're in the study, and Poe's like, oh, God. He's just still eating across from the guy who just went crazy. How you doing? So, I don't... Oh, yeah, that's what happens. Landor... How does he get away to go search the house?
I think in the... This is where...
Oh, yeah, he asked him to the study, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's after the study, he says, oh, yeah, because his daughter Leah's playing piano. Yeah. And the brother's like, oh, you must come see. She's on a roll tonight. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I must step outside before, right?
Yeah, need fresh air. And he also, in the study, this is kind of where all the pieces start to lay for him. I think it's like one thing after the next he sees in the house. The first thing he sees is this like weird book covered in like fur. Shoved away in the study, and he's like, what the fuck? Yeah, then after that, he says he's going to go outside, and he goes upstairs and starts snooping around and finds some shit. So he sees a painting with a guy with some sort of like symbol on his coat, and then he finds the coat that was referenced earlier in the movie where some cadet was saying that he was relieved by somebody in an officer's uniform, but his banner on the side of his shoulder was missing.
Yeah.
And then he finds that in the upper room before the wife catches it. What are you doing?
Yeah, in the upper room. The upper room.
Upper room.
When Jesus. You know what I'm talking about, man. The upper room. Yeah, he finds the jacket, and then the mom walks in. How may I help you, Mr. Lando? God dang! Bitch, I thought you were. I thought you were. What do you say? I thought you were down for the night.
Yeah, basically.
Like, no, my migraines act up. I just needed a moment of rest. But what the fuck you doing in the coat room? Just checking out this coat, and then she goes back down there. And it was Toby's brother's coat, right? Dr. Marquise's
Yeah.
brother, is that what he said was in the
Yeah.
military? And she's like, oh, he found your brother's coat. My brother's coat. Yes, maybe you had been wearing it, Dr. Marquise, or maybe your son, even. And then we start to lay a groundwork of murderous intentions. Finds that uniform. They confront Dr. Marquise. This is the most ridiculous thing. This is what he comes up with. Well, he admits it. We have been using satanic dark magic to cure her of her seizures. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it works.
Yeah. It's a miracle cure. You don't understand what it's like to be a physician and not be able to help your daughter. But then it's like, how do you try that the first time? You know what I mean? How do you stumble across it? And then how do you even know it works? Yeah, I saw her have a seizure. What are you talking about it works? All you need is a heart and a satanic symbol on the floor and a couple incantations from this flesh-bound book, and boom, no more seizures.
The Nepanamakan.
Yeah. It's some hocus pocus shit, man.
Yeah.
I didn't it was like, okay.
This got weird real quick.
Yeah. She's cured. What's so... I don't remember... Poe says he'll do whatever he wants for Leah. But what is he... Was he drugged?
Yeah, this was confusing to me. It took me a little bit to kind of piece together, because when he's all tied up and they're doing shit to him, because the scene before that, he does say, like you said, I'll do anything for you. And she's like, oh, really? Anything? And then that's the last you ever see of them. And the next thing, he's like laying on this thing with his shirt off. And they're like doing shit to him. I'm like, is he like going along with this? That's what I thought for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, did they drug him? What the fuck?
I do not feel terribly well. Because like they slit his wrist. They got a bunch of blood coming out to make the blood circle for the blood urn sacrifice. And but like we later, well, I guess we'll talk about that later. But he volunteered, so they're okay with it for him, you know. Mm-hmm. We'll take his heart. So he wants it to happen, really.
Yeah, I think at this point they've already said that they haven't killed anybody, right? They just took a heart. Because didn't they say something like that at some point? Like, oh, we didn't kill anybody. We just took someone's heart. I thought someone said that, but I don't remember.
I don't know. I think at this point Bale is still under the impression that they are the murderers.
Yeah.
And I don't understand where Bale was when they took Poe. I don't remember. You know what I mean? Because he's in the house.
He was in the study going off on Toby, because they're like cross-cutting, like they're in the living room, and then he's like, "Where's your daughter right now? Where's your son?" And
yeah.
And then they go looking for him.
So I mean, Christian Bale comes in to stop it, and he never has a gun. He just has this little billy club. You better stop. Mm-hmm. I'll hit you with this damn billy club. And he does. And she's like, no, stop. We must use his heart. We need it. And then the mom's there too, shouting incantations. Continue, Leah. Continue. And that's Gillian Anderson, who you could never I didn't know at all. Like, I don't know if she just got old or they did some prosthetics, but I just didn't put two and two together at all. So she's still saying some crazy shit. I don't remember what when Bale comes in, she like bumps a candle or some shit, right? And it knocks into a drape.
Fire, yeah.
And then the fire's starting, and then goes up to the rafters, And these 1800 houses just burn like a motherfucking twig, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So that fucking rafter falls on her head. Ow! Ow! She falls to the ground. And then the guy, the brother, I don't remember his name. What the fuck was his name?
It's like Atticus or some shit like that.
Artemis.
Artemis
Goes to help her. And I don't know. The mom's still standing off to the side. Help her! Oh, it's like where? Like, why are you standing so far away?
Yeah, go on a migraine somewhere, would you?
Yeah, Jesus Christ. And God, you are annoying.
Bring this party down, man.
X-Files? Come on now. And so then another giant rafter falls on them both. That was pretty brutal. And then, Bale pulls Poe out. I don't remember what happens to her if she gets out, the mom.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I'm pretty sure she got out. So now we think the case is solved. So the military thanks Landor for his service, and then we get this cute part where I can't remember which one of the military guys, but I would, if I ever called your astuteness into proposition, I do apologize. I don't know. I was like, okay, thank you. But then we have Poe showing up at Landor's home, putting together all this information. I can't remember why, but he has some note that Landor wrote. As you would know, the lowercase can be as damning as the uppercase when determining who wrote a said letter. Your E's and your A's, and particularly, have a curvature to the, and those curvatures exactly match the scrap of note. This is like, so. And then he's like going off on this tangent. He's like, and your daughter's not missing, is she? Is she? and then we go through some flashback stuff of his daughter. Your daughter was tragically attacked coming home from the West Point ball by 3 men who raped her. And then we see Christian Bale walking through the forest, sees his daughter. Obviously, he was like looking for her all night or something. Yeah. She's all beat up, and he takes her home, washes her up, and she never quite recovers from it. And then we get the other scene where she's on the cliff, and he's asking her to step away. And what does she say? She says some funky shit.
Yeah, I don't remember what she said.
I think she just repeats what he told her. Everything will be okay.
Yeah, everything will be all right.
And then she says, I love you, and jumps off. You got a weird way of showing it. I love you. And so, yeah, that sucked. And then, so, we come to find out Christian Bale has been the fucking murderer this whole time, hunting down the assailants that tragically raped and beat his daughter, leaving her for dead. And he has wanted his revenge ever since she took her life. And I have no fucking clue how he figured out the 3 people from the, thousands at the West Point. Was there anything that
I think
inclined how that happened?
They answer it, but they don't in a way, because I think Poe even asks him that, how did you know? And I think Christian Bale holds up a little medal or a little thing, but still, even that, if that is how you knew, you'd have to go through hundreds of cadets to find that little piece on the uniform. But yeah, that's basically the only explanation you get. He just holds up that little thing.
I didn't even know what that thing was. I thought it was some kind of fucking necklace or something. After attending her first ball, Du-du-du-du. So yeah. So the first one he was questioning, and then that's how we got the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hanging him. And then when that guy came by, I remember when he's like in the beginning, yes, I saw him hanging there. You came over? Yes, I came over. His feet was touching the ground. It's eerily strange. What did you do? Oh, I ran. Fast as I could. Fast as my feet would flee. I did. And then he's like, I thought it was an animal in distress. It was not. 'Twas a man.
Mm-hmm.
Not my problem. And he comes, hello, there's someone over there. And then Christian Bale gets behind the tree. He's, oh my! Walks away.
Runs away.
And then Christian Bale starts back in. You fuck. I'll Billy Club the shit out of you. Yeah. That was funny. So, Landor killed the first one. But then the Artemis and Leah took the heart of the person in the the morgue. Christian Bale was like, "Oh, this is perfect." Mm-hmm. Now he's like, "What does he do?" He starts doing that to the next victims. I think, just kind of throwing the path from him. Right, it's a couple red herrings there. Mutilated his corpse, yeah. So I don't think... So Artemis and Leah, I think, only got that one heart.
Yeah, I think, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Christian Bale says he kills the second one, castrates him, and takes the heart, which is why it's a little sloppy. I think they even say in the morgue,
it's sloppier.
This one's sloppier than the first one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, yeah, then Poe... tells Landor he has 2 notes with handwriting samples that would land him in the gallows. And Christian Bale, oh no, he's kind of okay with it. He's not stopping him. He's like, whatever, I deserve it. And then Poe, as he leaves, says something like, Landor says something like, sometimes I wish she would have met you at that ball.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we would have been a real family together. And he's crying, and Poe's like, he's like, one day he goes into this like thanking him for something, but he doesn't finish it, and just kind of
stops. I think he's trying to say I enjoyed our time together. I think that's kind of the gist that I got. It's like I enjoyed the time we spent.
And then as he does that, he takes the letters and burns them on the candle and leaves them in the room. So, you know what? I like you. You know what? What's done is done, right? Oh, but the other thing was like, he's like, the third one ran away, and he's like, oh, he ran away. How do I know you're not gonna? I don't have the gumption nor desire to track down this assailant and murder him, but I hope he lives the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. It's like, I think you should track him down.
Yeah, let's get this motherfucker.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it ain't great. I think we still got something on the table here. That's only 66%, baby. Mm-hmm. So, Landor is later seen standing at the cliff where his daughter leapt to her death. He lets her ribbon go and says, be free or something.
Yeah.
Rest. Anyways. And then they kind of leave it to your imagination. Does he jump after that? Was he just there to do that? But then, scene.
Cut to credits.
Wow. So, who the hell directed this thing?
Scott Cooper, I think.
Who's Scott Cooper? No, it's produced by. Oh, yeah. Screenplay and directed by. Okay. What has he done?
I've only seen Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace. I haven't seen anything else he's done. Those are pretty good.
Crazy Heart starring Jeff Bridges and Maggie Gyllenhaal? Huh. Never even heard of that.
Sounds all right. He's like a country singer, and he's like kind of
Oh,
old, and he falls in love with this reporter. I don't know. It was all right. Out of the Furnace is pretty good though. That's another revenge type of movie. Him and Casey Affleck.
Out of the Furnace. Okay. Val will direct his upcoming Valhalla. He directed Valhalla,
No
or
more
is that?
Viking shit. Stop it. We've run that to the ground.
I don't know, man. It's still pretty good. This is call me the Prince of Persia. Uh, so I was like, I don't know. I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't boring or anything, even though it's a very calm movie. Everything about it is just kind of subdued and subtle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I enjoyed the mystery. I was along for the ride. I was curious the whole time. Um, Little twists. They weren't big, but they were like, oh, interesting. Um, I thought Christian Bale was pretty good. You know, it wasn't a role where you got to go full Bale or anything, but it
Yeah.
was pretty good. I thought Edgar Allen Poe was a standout. That guy. Um, yeah, I was along for it more in the beginning. I was really along, but then towards the end, when we start to get answers, is when I kind of fell off for me. I was like,
Mm.
man, these answers I'm not too fond of. Oh, he's the killer. Oh. But then it's like at the very end, you only get like 5 minutes of he's the killer.
Yeah.
Um, and then you feel like we're it makes you feel like you wait because you feel like you're investigating the crime, right? Because you're watching it, you're with Bale, and then you come to find out he did it. So now you feel like you've been lied to and wasted your time investigating, right? Which it's supposed to. Um, but I overall liked it. Um, Netflix straight Netflix produced a movie. These all fall in the same trap of kind of like they're okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
but one's never reached like greatness.
Hmm.
I still think Bird Box is probably their best ever original they did. Um, Bright was kind of close. It was just a really cool story and world.
Yeah. In terms of like entertainment, I haven't seen Bird Box or Bright, but in terms of like just a fun Netflix, you know, movie, I'm sure there is one that I've watched that I've enjoyed, but for the most part, they're kind of like, I think that as a movie go, a real movie. I don't know. I hate to say it like that, but I thought Scorsese's Irishman, was pretty damn. I mean, it's 3 hours long, so it's not like
Oh yeah, that was a Netflix movie, huh?
but I thought that was really good. But yeah, in terms of just like their fun action movies, they pop out every now and again. The one with Chris Hemsworth, I thought was kind of fun. I fucking don't even remember what the fuck it was called, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. But yeah, for the most part, I agree with you. Like a lot of them are just middle of the road. Like I'm glad I kind of watched it, but whatever. You kind of forget about it.
Dude, you need to watch Bird Box.
Yeah.
That one's fucking. That one's really cool, interesting, very different. I liked it a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this one, I'm gonna give it a 7.1.
Okay, we're pretty close. I kind of feel the same way, although slightly differently. For one, this is a murder mystery movie, and I think these kind of movies are only as good as the mystery. And I don't know if this one really hooked me right away. It kind of took me a while. I think once the second murder happens, I started to get a little more intrigued because the first one's just like this cadet, and it takes like an hour in the movie till the second murder pops up. So it's kind of like I don't know. I wasn't that invested into this one murder of this cadet, but once the murder started to continue, I'm like, oh, okay, what is going on? And so I thought some of it was kind of dull, and I'm not a big period piece guy. Sometimes they hit the mark with me, and sometimes they don't. But yeah, it is kind of like the two English guys, and I don't know, just the feel of the movie just feels very dry. You know what I mean? But But I would say for me, maybe I feel a little opposite in the way you do, but I think the ending with Bale actually made me like the movie more because it kind of recontextualizes the whole movie you just watched. And now, not that I'm like dying to watch it again, but I think that if I did watch it again, I think it would probably improve knowing what actually happens. And I was very nervous during the end that Poe was going to turn him in, and I'm like, no, 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 do not. This movie needs to have the guts to let him be, because like at that moment when you're getting all the backstory and the rape and everything, like you as an audience member are like, yeah, fuck those guys, like kill all of them, go chase that third guy down, like fuck that asshole. And so I think it would have been really shitty if Poe did turn him in and that was the ending, like, you know, justice is served. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I kind of wish like after Poe leaves, it kind of sits on this wide shot of Christian Bale just sitting there in his chair with his head down. I'm like, oh, that's when you cut to black. That's a fucking perfect ending. So I was kind of annoyed that they did the whole cliff ribbon thing. Like, I get the closure part of it, but it's like, oh man, you got to cut when he's sitting in his house all with his head down, all sad and shit. Yeah. But yeah, I thought Christian Bale was good. It's a very reserved role, but Christian Bale is always great. No matter what the fuck he's in, he's gonna be great. Yeah, the guy who plays Poe is very good. He's not too over the top. He kind of goes in the line of being too over the top. But I think he's really good and very fun. Every time he's in a scene, he brings more energy into that scene for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaning at 6.7 coming in. It was enjoyable. Maybe I'll watch it again. But I don't know. It's a little long. I think it probably could have been a little shorter. It's like 2 hours, 10 minutes. Probably could have been a brisk minute or an hour 45.
Could have been a minute-long movie.
Yeah, it was mostly enjoyable.
Yeah, like the ending didn't make me like the movie less. It's that ending where you're so invested in Christian Bale and helping him along with the mystery and being part of it that you feel duped.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you lied to me. Like,
you son of a bitch.
You know, that's a good thing because that means that you have some connection and feeling to him.
Yeah. For a while watching it, I was like, I hope that Poe was the killer. Like, how do you bring Edgar Allan Poe into your murder mystery and not have him be the killer?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta fucking have him kill people. So I was kind of I was leaning that way for most of the movie. I'm like, man, I hope Edgar Allan Poe is the one doing all this, but unfortunately, it was not the case. It was the other one.
All right. 7.1. What did you say? 6.8?
6.7.
6.7, 7.1. Pretty good. Go check it out. If you got Netflix, ain't gonna hurt nothing. Go and click on the little button. It's on the homepage there. Top 10 in the U.S., baby. You know how they do. Top 10 in the U.S.
Just do it today because by tomorrow it will be off that list and a new movie will be in its spot. Gotta get on it quick.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we enjoyed it. Go check it out and see what you think. Thank you for joining us as always. We appreciate it very much. You can check us out on Spotify, on Apple Music, and as always here on YouTube. We appreciate having you, and we'd appreciate you coming back every week. We'd love to talk with you. So until the next V's, say peace.
Peace.